Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. How is everyone doing?
Hi, Monica.
Oh, got Malcolm. Hello.
Hi,
You're
Monica. You
mute,
all right?
Malcolm. Got Carl.
Hello.
Got Tracy.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Fabulous. You've got a few faces, which is amazing.
Yeah. Monica, have you got your slides?
I do, yes, I do, absolutely.
Lovely.
I'm just seeing if there's anyone else that we're waiting for.
We'll give it a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
I think there are quite a few more expecting to join. There are a lot of people that have registered who can't make it, but they want the recording afterwards. So they've registered so they can get that afterwards.
No worries, no
All
worries at
right.
all. Yeah, I'll start sharing the slides so at least we have it. We have something to look at other than myself.
I was panicking. I had nothing to look at, but I don't have the slides.
So good, we have it. No worries. We got you covered.
Okay. All right, so I think we'll get going, Monica.
Mhm.
Hi guys, I'm Tracy. I'm from Innov8. I just want to welcome Monica here today. She's going to do the presentation for us, all about Copilot and getting ready for Copilot, and some hints and tips on what we need to do, what can we do before that, and then give us a good overview of the product. So over to you, Monica. Any questions? Are we having them as we go along or at the end?
Yes, pretty much. I mean, feel free to kind of, if there's anything that is related to what we're going through in the slides, then yeah, absolutely. But there might be a couple of minutes at the end as well if there's anything outstanding.
So you can raise your hand, you can put questions and answers in the question and answers or the chat, whatever works for you guys.
Yeah,
All
fabulous.
right, over
Excellent.
to you.
Thank you. Hello, afternoon again. Happy Friday. I think everyone's excited. My name is Monica. I work for Illuminate Learning. And yes, so today we'll be running through Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is very exciting. And yeah, like Tracy said, if there's any questions during, just raise your hand. Or if you want to wait till the end, that's fine too. So that's not a problem. We're just going to keep it as flexible and conversational as possible. So this is what we're covering today. So introduction to the Copilot, fairly straightforward. AI opportunities. So basically looking at, are people really interested in working with AI? And I think we know the answer, but we're just gonna ponder on that a little bit anyway. We've got Copilot options. So we know everyone says Copilot, but there's more than one. So there's again something to keep in mind when you have those discussions, right? Use cases, so examples of how we can use Copilot in things like Word, Excel, Outlook, Teams, places where we spend a lot of the time, places where we can gain productivity and creativity time, basically. I'm going to touch in on Teams Premium. And it might be a little bit weird and out of place in here, but I promise you there's a reason for it, and I will cover that in detail. Deployment consideration, again, something Tracy touched in on. What do we need to keep in mind when we're thinking about Copilot? Because, it's very easy to just get a license, right? But there's things to consider before you take that step. And again, we're going to cover that in Q&A at the end as well. So if there's any questions that haven't been answered throughout the day or throughout the presentation, just let me know and we can cover it on the spot. Excelente. Fabulous. So we have an exciting future ahead. I hope everyone agrees because technology landscape has been changing, right? Especially in the last, I would say, 4 years since the 2020, but in the last year and a half, AI has been making headlines pretty much every single day. So I think most people have now agreed that AI. Oh, someone coming in. Yep, got Heather joining. Boom, fabulous. Thank you. And most people will agree that AI is going to have a significant impact on how most of us work in the future, if it hasn't already, right? We kind of, use AI in our daily lives anyway, even if we don't necessarily realize that we do. But kind of before we start, just a quick question. Have any of you ever used Microsoft 365 Copilot at all? Feel free to do thumbs up or anything that is visible. I've seen Malcolm, but Malcolm is the only one I can see. You can do a reactions. There you go. James has got it. Yeah, fabulous. Okay, so there's another. There's your thumbs up. So that's great, right? So yeah, great. That's a great start. So we're gonna dive deeper a little bit, but everyday people use AI, right? Again, whether they realize it or not is kind of another story. So let's go back in time to this little guy. I think we all remember it. And do you guys remember when Clippy first appeared into our homes. It was a long time ago. That's the only hint. No, Helen. How did you know? Did you look it up? Helen's right. It, it was 1997. Windows 97. This is when we first saw Clippy. And, it was just a pop-up assistant to help you with tasks in Word, Excel, PowerPoint. And it's supposed to make your things easier, right? It was a bit of a marmite. Some people loved it. Some people are like, just go away. What is this? This is annoying. But, Clippy shows that Microsoft has always been looking at ways to help their customers get the most out of the products, right? Obviously, we have evolved since then. It's no longer Clippy. We now have a Copilot, and we do have AI in daily lives, right? So obviously, we have assistants, which names I won't mention because she will pop up with very excited. And we have, we have Netflix, we have Spotify. All of that is using AI to give you recommendations and help you kind of with your entertainment, for example. So we kind of know exactly what AI can do for us in our daily lives. So let's have a look at the productivity side as well. So when the Copilot first launched, it was an interesting mixed bag because I think the idea was that it was for enterprise, right? Because it was 300 seats and it was this all massive machine. But I think over 3 or 4 months since its launch, people started seeing like, actually, you know what? It's accessible to everyone. So the smaller businesses started to get on board and they're starting to see that, you know what? Copilot can give us a real advantage over our competition, right? So actually, we just had an anniversary, actually. I don't know if you guys realize Copilot launched last year, November 1st. So it's 1 year old. Yay. Um, yeah, so there was a huge amount of resources put behind it, and I'm talking billions and billions of dollars, like literally. So obviously, with that kind of investment, we can be sure that it is going to have a huge impact of how we work in the future. It's here to stay. There's a huge appetite for it, and especially now when obviously we kind of have this hybrid working, we have remote working, and we kind of are expected to do more with less, right? And AI can really help with that. There's some stats on the screen here. So 64% of people, struggle to find time to complete their tasks. So imagine if they could just delegate those recurring mundane tasks to AI so they can actually focus on being a little bit more productive, a little bit more creative. And the second one, we kind of know what happened in February, March to 2020, right? We're spending a lot more time in Teams. Like this is kind of my day. I spend 5, 6 hours in Teams every single day. That's again kind of my role that I do. So again, something to keep in mind because the way we work is changing and AI has a great place in that, especially in Teams. AI saves me every single day. 70% of people say they would delegate work to AI. I'm definitely one of them, 100%. And it's great to see that leadership is starting to see it as well. So it's not only about the people who are actually doing the manual task and things that are mundane, but it's also the leadership that recognizes there's a great advantage of having that implemented throughout the firm organization, whatever you want to call it. So there's a clear willingness to embrace AI. It's kind of I get that a lot when I see something new come up. It's always like, oh my God, I need to try this. This is like I call it shiny syndrome. That's not what this is, but every time something new, I get really excited and I want to try it. And think we've seen that with AI, which is quite interesting because if you look back at technology, how long do you think it took it took Facebook to get to 100 million users? How long do you think it took them? 5 years, okay. Got what one bit? Anyone higher, lower? Uh, just the one guess. 5, 6 months. Wayne, well, very optimistically are you. Nice, I like it. Go for it. Jack, 10. Is that 10 years, 10 months? Years, nice. Okay. So I'm gonna show you a stat now. Hold on to your chairs. It took Facebook 4.5 years to get to 100 million users. It took mobile phones 16 years, and it took 3 months for the GPT, Chat GPT, to hit 100 million users, right? We have never seen this in the past. We have never seen or experienced this kind of diffusion in the tech industry, right? So you see this growth curve is no longer a gentle slope. It's nothing of that. It's a vertical. So this is where we are now. It was virtually no time for ChatGPT to reach 100 million users. And it's amazing. But again, it highlights the interest of it in it. And also what's interesting to notice is that those 100 million users and the interest in ChatGPT doesn't come just from the tech industry or from the IT in the sector. It's everyday people that are interested in using it. So, they understand how it can help them to be more productive, more creative, gain new skills, for example. So there's definitely a change, a shift that we're seeing. When you think about the appetite, I don't know if you've come across this, there's also a little bit of fear, which has been voiced. I don't know if you've seen this, but have you heard people making a comment here and there that they're a little bit worried about AI taking their jobs? Have you come across it? Yeah, Malcolm's nodding. Yeah, I get that because there was so much noise around it, right? So I can understand that 49% of employees are fearful. They're just worried that they're going to be replaced because their tasks are quite manual, they're repetitive, and it could quite easily, in their eyes, be replaced by AI. But at the same time, staggering 70%, yeah, people would still delegate, right? So even though they're scared, they would still delegate. So they will still choose to use it. But I think there's a way to counter that, and I think there's just a little bit of understanding that's needed. So what I'm seeing is that there's like extremes, right? You have your no AI, and then you almost have this, I'm going to quote now, Terminator Skynet scenario where AI takes over and gets rid of the human race, right? It's almost like there's nothing in between in people's eyes sometimes. But where we are right now is that middle bit, which is the juicy bit, which is what people need to kind of understand. And that middle bit is you do not have to worry about AI taking your job. You need to worry about people using AI taking your job, or people who know how to use AI tools taking your job, right? Because they'll have that advantage. So that's the real fear. But again, I think it got a little bit distorted just a wee bit over, the last few months, because it's still your work, right? You still have to do it. Copilot is not going to replace you. It's not doing the job for you. It's not, as it says on the screen, AI on autopilot. That's not what this is. It can help you get some interesting results, but it is your work ultimately. So how does Copilot change work for the better? Again, I've got a few statistics I'm going to run by you again, just to kind of land, because they are not small. They're quite significant. So 77% say they spend less time searching for information. And I'm 100% in that group. I search for information all the time. So imagine, instead of having 20 tabs open, looking through different websites, pulling it together into one document or OneNote, whatever it is that you use. Instead, I can just prompt Copilot or any other AI tool, depending on what I'm searching for, and get that results within a few seconds, right? Obviously, you have to verify your resources and all that, but that's a different ballgame. All of that comes to me rather than me having to actively look for it. And 87% say they preserve mental effort during repetitive tasks. So imagine all of that brain energy, the capacity that you have because AI is taking some of the work away. You can then get creative. You can get innovative with your work. So again, it's just slightly different rhythm of working. So you can focus on the things that are important, basically, right? So, like I said, these are not small numbers. Delegating work to Copilot really, really makes a difference. So it's something worth keeping in mind. And when we talk about this, these can sound like buzzwords. Like, I don't know what you mean. What do you mean more productive, right? What is that? Or being more creative? I don't get it. So I can give you examples of how I'll use it. Then you can find your own examples. So for me, when I do training, which I do quite a lot of, some of my sessions will have like an icebreaker. And a lot of the time, I'm trying to make it fun just to kind of break the ice, right? And get to know people. So I will do a quiz and I will ask Copilot to create it for me. In the past, it would be quite a manual process where I would then think about, okay, what theme do I want to do and how am I going to design it? Whereas Copilot, again, I can prompt it to design me a quiz that could be movie themed from the 80s and then generate images, right? Because I want images that are copyright free. So that takes, again, a few minutes rather than an hour me trying to design the quiz. Another way I use it is, again, in Teams, summarizing actions, summarizing notes, getting transcripts, getting follow-up questions, getting action items. So all of those things are done for me in Teams. So I can focus on delivering the training. I can focus on the other person on the screen. So I can give them, full value, basically. So AI does its thing, I do my thing, and we work together, right? It's always working together. It doesn't replace me. It cannot do what I do, but it can help me. And up leveling, things change all the time in tech. We have to stay up to date. It can be challenging, I'm not going to lie. So when that happens, I can again say, like, tell me about this. How does it work? How does it get used? So it's almost like having a buddy, and I can ask them a question and they come up with an answer, right? So that's how I use it. You can find your own ways. And those of you who already use it, I'm sure you have your own scenarios and use cases, right? So it's a weird picture, right? It's a keyboard. Yes, there's a keyboard. There's a reason for it. So um, Windows key on that keyboard, right? When do you think that was introduced? Because it wasn't there always. I don't know if you remember the time before the Windows key, but it's not something that's always been there. So again, another trivia question. Don't look it up. Just don't look it up. No cheating. No cheating. Hands off keyboards. Any idea? Again, that was a while back. That was a while back. Okay. Okay. No takers. Everyone's scared. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. So it was in 1994, 30 years ago this year, that Windows key was introduced to the keyboard layout. It's quite staggering, isn't it? So again, Windows key was this kind of portal to productivity, right? Multitasking. And now the royal we, Microsoft has introduced the Copilot key to the keyboards. Not every device will have it, but moving forward, that's going to be standard depending on what generation your device is. I've got one here. So basically now we have a Copilot key. Is it direct path to AI, right? So it took 30 years for that change to happen. So it, again, think about this. This is a huge significant to basically means that Copilot is here to stay. It will be expected to change the way we work. It's on the keyboard now, right? This is what it looks like. It's a bit blurry. But yeah, again, they wouldn't put it in there just because they can. That's not how this works, right? This doesn't get changed very often. So you'll see some of those devices coming up, and when you press that button, your Copilot comes up. So again, you have direct access, which is brilliant. This is a bit of an eye test, just for everyone who's on the screen, because we do that sometimes. And this is something to keep in mind when you speak Copilot, right? When you hear that word Copilot, we obviously here are focusing on Microsoft 365 Copilot, which works with productivity apps like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Teams, Outlook, whatever. But worth noting, there's a Copilot for everything, right? And they're all different. They all have different functionalities, different features. But just to keep things interesting, keep us on our toes, they're all called Copilot. Because why not, right? It's not my idea, but there's Copilot for the Edge browser, there's Power Platform Copilot, there's Copilot Studio. This is probably out of date because it's probably 2 months old and it keeps changing, keeps evolving. But there's a lot of Copilots. Again, when you're having those conversations, just like make sure you're on the same page. Make sure you actually mean the same thing, because Copilot is a kind of a word, the shiny word that everyone throws about, but which one is it, right? What do you mean by Copilot? One of those things that we've noticed when people think about Copilot is, how does that fit in within your M365, right? Your data. So generally, LLMs, so this is really hard for me to say, large language models. I have to stop myself every single time. So LLMs are like not the Microsoft 365 ones, but the general LLMs are trained on massive amount of public data, right? Like books, articles, websites, and they learn from that, right? And when you prompt them, they just basically generate a response based on what they know and what you've asked, right? Or what they understand you've asked. In Microsoft 365 Copilot, again, we have this LLM. However, there's a huge difference. That LLM is not trained on your data. Your data is your data. It's secure. It's not being used to train the model. So again, something to keep in mind because it can come up in conversations, right? So LLM is not trained. The Microsoft Graph data pulls data from things like OneDrive, SharePoint, emails, Teams chats, for example, right? So what happens with Microsoft 365 Copilot versus any other tools that use LLMs? You have that advantage of that, your own data, you're accessing that, right? Your OneDrives and SharePoint and everything else. So there's a huge advantage. Plus, like I said, your data is secure. You don't have to worry about that leaking anywhere outside of your tenant. It stays in your little silo, basically. So in terms of security, we do understand that it's incredibly important, and it's becoming, well, it probably is one of those most important things that companies are having conversations about when it's AI chat, right? AI talking. So if you're thinking about deploying Copilot, then that security conversation is gonna come in at some point, right? So Microsoft has always been the leader in data security, so you guys don't have to worry about that. So your data always remains private, and I think the next slide probably describes it just a little bit better. So one of the main concerns that we've seen is that you prompt a Copilot, right? You ask it a question. Is it going to access the data and give me answers that I've never had access to, right? So things like, let's say I'm asking Copilot, so what's James's salary last year? I want to compare because we're competing, right? With like, he's my nemesis. I want to know what he's making. Is he making more than me? Why? So I can ask Copilot, what's James' salary? Do you guys think the Copilot will give me the answer? What's your thought? Isn't, you don't have to know, but give us a guess.
I would say no, because these are protected sections within
Correct.
the data where the data is held.
Yeah, James, Tracy, Malcolm.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes, it's sensitive data, absolutely. So basically, again, because this comes up because obviously Copilot has access to your whole tenant, right? So you're, like I said, OneDrive, SharePoint, emails, chats. So answer is no. Copilot honors your existing permissions, right, and policies for data access. So if that data wasn't accessible to you before Copilot was deployed, then it won't be accessible after it was deployed. Copilot doesn't grant you access. It only accesses what you can access in the first place, right? So you don't have to worry about it. We understand that not everyone has their data governance in perfect order. Oh, internet cut out. Okay, no worries. So, again, if it hasn't been something that was top of mind, you may need to get to a better state of your data before it's safe to deploy Copilot. However, we do have a solution. That's something fairly new that was introduced, and that's called restricted SharePoint search, which basically allows you to create like a silo that will only access a certain list of data, of sites. So you can still benefit from using Copilot, but again, it's going to be siloed off the rest of your estate, so you don't have to worry about any other data being accessed. So there's a solution, like an in-between step. If somebody wants to try Copilot, but their data governance needs to be updated, basically. So yeah, so again, just something to keep in mind. Use cases. This is the stuff that we want to see, right? We know that there's kind of they will vary, right? Use cases will vary depending on who you're speaking to. Also, for example, if you're looking at different departments, right? We've got HR, sales, marketing, finance, IT. So when you integrate into the apps that those teams are using, they'll have enough time, to have free time to focus on their most important work, right? Copilot will take care of the busy work for them. Fantastic. That's exactly what you want to do. You want to give them more time back so they can get creative, they can get more productive, they can up-level those skills, those 3 things that we had discussed, right? So there's a kind of like a, not necessarily best practice, but what's recommended when it comes to Copilot deployment, I suppose. And that's to think about, we've got someone waiting in the lobby. And that's to possibly choose a champion from each department, yeah? Have that one person who makes sure that it's being adopted and is the like, oh my God, it's Copilot, you should try it, let me show you how. So you have that one person, but also when if you're testing, if you're creating a pilot for Copilot, which is really weird. So yeah, if you're thinking of maybe trying with 5 licenses or 10 licenses, just to test it out, just to see how it behaves, how you work with it, whether it brings you value, deploy it in one department. And the reason I say that is it will give you the use cases that you need and success stories that you can take to a different department and build a business case for a wider deployment, right? Because if you split it between one user here, one user here, one user here, you won't have that bank of experience. You won't have those use cases built out enough to present as a proof that it's working. So if you focus on 1 or 2 departments at a time, make them successful, then move on to the other ones. It's a bit of a more strategic approach. So this is an example of tasks or things that these functions do. It's not complete. Some of them have more or less. But again, just to give you an idea, things like what a use case would be, right? So if we look at this one here, right? Post-sale follow-up. I can't use a pointer to save my life. So when you in a team meeting, like the common courtesy is, the best practice again be take some notes, make sure you then get off the call and you follow up with an email, right? You just say, thank you so much for joining this call. It was great chatting to you earlier. This is what we covered in the meeting, and these are our next steps, right? So you would do that. So imagine you have, but that takes what, 10, 15 minutes, and you have 5 of those a day, right? This could be anywhere between 60 and 90 minutes every single day that you do that, right? And it's a repetitive task. So imagine that AI could do that for you. Potentially, you could be saving, if it's 90 minutes a day, you're potentially saving, oh God, maths. Nearly 8 hours a week? It's Friday, my brain isn't working, so bear with me if I'm lying. But it's about 8 hours a week that AI can just take away from you, right? So that's a whole day of AI doing the work for you. So you can, again, focus on building those relationships because that's what's important, right? Plus, Copilot and Teams can take those notes for you. So you don't have to worry about that. You can just focus on the person on the other side and build that relationship, have that connection with them, right? So yeah, just have a look at those use cases, think how it can apply. And then again, focus on one at a time so you can build a business case for yourself for the wider deployment. So where do you start, right? It can be one of those questions like, everybody wants to Copilot, let's do it, yay. But where do you actually start, right? How do you want to make sure that it's done properly? So like I said, one department at a time, make sure you have a champion in there, and then use that as a proof of concept. That's your POC, that's your pilot that you take, like lift, put into another department, right? It works. So let's now actually have a look at some examples, because again, it's the proof is in the pudding, right? So we want to see how it actually works in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and Teams. And again, this will be different for each of you. How you use it may be different, but this is something to keep top of mind, what it can do, and more, of course. So Copilot and Word. I don't know about you, but for me, when I have to start something from scratch, it's a little bit like, oh my God, it's a blank page, and it's a little bit overwhelming sometimes. And it can take a wee bit of time to get started, to just get that over the hump of the first paragraph or the first bullet point. And that's where Copilot can be really, really handy. You can just ask it, just draft 2 pages based on this, right? So you can submit a PDF. We need to write a report based on that PDF. Can you start? So it will give you the bare bones. It will give you an outline. It will give you the framework, so you can then get going, and you can tweak that prompt as many times as you need to make sure that it starts to read the way you want. And then again, make sure this is your tone of voice, because AI written material has a very specific tone. It can have anyway. You can adjust it, of course. But again, you want these to be your words. Make sure that they sound like you, right? So there's a lot of things you can do with Word, especially one useful thing, which is on the next slide. Like, have you guys ever tried to insert a photo into a Word document? It goes crazy. It's never the way you want, right? So there's a designer that's been around for a long time in Word, but they've taken it to the next level here. So I'm just going to play this video for you guys. Might want to mute yourself. Fabulous. So again, a lot easier than it used to be, which is amazing for anyone who uses Word and tries to insert pictures in it. PowerPoint is a big one as well. A lot of the time, what I do is I will write an outline in a Word document or a OneNote or something, nothing creative, just to get an idea of what I want to cover. So I can then, again, ask Copilot, like, okay, can you create, like it says here, 5-slide presentation based on this? And again, give it context, and it will start the work for you, so you can kind of get going, get on that process. And it pulls images from stock images, right? So they're all copyright free, so you can use them. There's absolutely no problem there. So quick way to get work done, especially if you're short on time, which I think we all are at some point. So you can condense lengthy presentations into something a little bit more concise, because again, we don't always need 100 slides. That's fine. We can kind of limit ourselves to 10 or 20 if needs be. And you can reformat text, adjust layouts and things like that. So try it if you can, if you've got the license. I know a couple of you have said that you've tried it in the past. So yeah, play with it and see how it can work for you. Excel. Excel. A bit of a beastie, isn't it? Excel itself. I admit I don't use it on a daily basis. It's not my role. So I don't engage with it as much as some people do. So I'm a basic user, right? I will use it to create spreadsheet, to do some basic data analysis, and I'll just potentially do a pivot table, do some conditional formatting, just to, again, to visibly represent the data that is presented in front of me. But I'm not a power user, right? I use probably less than 10% of its capacity because it's, again, like I said, it's a beastie. There's so much in it. So there's something to keep in mind when it comes to Excel. It is great for people like me, right? It is great for people who don't use it every day and can actually ask it like, oh, I want to get this result. What's the formula for it? Because that's one of the main things that I have issues with. It's just the formulas. Like, how do they work? I will ask it and it will help me navigate, right? But if you are a power user and you're an expert and you live and breathe Excel, then the value of it will be lesser than mine, obviously. So Excel is probably one of those things that is worth kind of having a play around with, just because, like I said, if you're an expert, you probably won't need to use Copilot as much as I do. So just have a look at the tools in there, just to make sure that they cover what you need and bring you what you need. Outlook, yay! Again, one of those that we kind of use several times a day, and it will come in handy when the Christmas period is finished. And that's because I think when you go away for a holiday, whether it's summer holiday, winter holiday, whatever it may be, you're away from your inbox, and when you come back, you come back to a list of, God knows, 100, 200, I don't know. Depends on your role, right? Depends what you get. There's a lot of emails to go through, and it can be very tempting to just like delete. You scan it. Do you read every single email? I don't, because I don't. It's probably not the best practice, but being honest. So Copilot on the return after holiday can lighten the load. It can basically summarize long email threads, quickly drafting replies as well. But it can also do like if you ask it like, which of these sound urgent or sound angry, it will try to detect the tone based on the words that are being used, or maybe the exclamation marks, grammar, and things like that. So it can even do that to a degree. So it's a great kind of tool to get rid of the noise that isn't necessary and focus on the right stuff. And in the next video, I'm going to show you another feature, which I'm not sure you are aware of, which is really handy, and that's following a meeting. And following a meeting is brilliant when you need to be in two places at once, which happens to us a lot, I would imagine. Fabulous, excellent. So that, again, that's a great tool and to use when you get to invite conflicting invites, but both meetings are important basically. Teams. Like I said, I mentioned this before, so I use Teams every single day, several times a day, hours on end, and it has been a game changer. I'm not even gonna, sugarcoat it. It really has, because in the past, I would remember I had, a lot of different notebooks and scraps of paper that I was trying to take the notes on and never actually do anything with them, or that I would lose them, or don't know which one relates to what because there were so many. So it wasn't the best way for me to kind of try to keep track of all my meetings. Copilot in Teams has changed that. There's a Copilot button. You literally just click it and it'll start kind of transcribing. It will start recording, but also you can prompt it with summarize this meeting, or is it have any questions been unanswered? What would you be suggested follow-up questions? So it can do more than just take notes, 100%. So try that. It can also
Let me mute myself.
oh, hello. There was a question. If there are questions, raise your hands, guys. Absolutely. So yeah, Teams can take away that noise to allow you to then focus on what's in front of you, what's important. So yeah, try it in Teams if you haven't yet, and I promise you it will change your life. It has for me. And I know there was quite a lot of steps and different demos that we just covered, but don't worry. This is like a list of top 10 really quick ones that you can try yourself pretty much straight away. It doesn't require any skill, any prompting skills or anything like that. Just recap a meeting. It's as simple as that, right? Summarize an email thread or draft an email, right? Simple. Summarize a document. Help me write ... Translate a message. So yeah, all of these 10 steps, you don't have to try them all at once. Maybe try one a day and see if you can get into a habit, because again, anything new will require some kind of change, behavioral change, right? So it will become a habit eventually. Even I sometimes forget to click the Copilot button in Teams still, or not, even though I've been using it for a year. I might need Copilot to tell me what I've missed in this webinar. Oh, what happened? Where's my chat? Oh, internet keeps going down. Oh no. Oh, that's so annoying. I'm so sorry. Is it my internet? It works fine on my end. I don't know. Is it Friday? Is it the Friday gremlins? Possibly. It is recorded, so hopefully it's not too bad. But yes, it should be transcribed as well. So going back to Teams Premium. Oh, there you go. Fabulous. Thank you, Tracy. Teams Premium. Why am I talking about Teams Premium? What's that got to do with anything? So I see Teams Premium as a great stepping stone on your path to adopting Copilot. And what I mean by that, you may not be ready to deploy Copilot because you need to get your data governance and check. You need to check. You don't know what's happening with your data, so you need to check first. But you want to get going, right? You want to try what Copilot can do. Is it going to bring value to you? So you can use Teams Premium license to do that. So you just buy Teams Premium license for 1 month. And just test it out. It's like $7, I think. So then it's not an expensive license, but it will give you access to all those amazing features we just talked about in Teams, right? You get that Copilot button on the top. So if you're spending a lot of time in meetings, just switch that on and off you go. Don't worry about anything else. Copilot will take care of all of the notes for you. So you don't have to, again, do the scraps of paper like I used to do. So you'll have automatically generated meeting notes, tasks, key points. Also, when you get a recording, oh, that happens all the time. So when I miss a meeting, it gets recorded. You don't have to watch it back. It's an hour, it's fine. But if it's longer than an hour, sometimes you kind of like, oh, I'm going to make a cup of tea, and you pause it, and you kind of end up watching it for 3 hours. So what Copilot can do, it can kind of make chapters within the meeting. So it's kind of like key points, right? So you can kind of navigate through it a lot quicker. So it's like, oh, actually, this section is probably more relevant than the other one. So I'm just going to navigate to that. So yeah, it's a lot easier to kind of get through the recordings. Things like language. So English is not my first language, right? So if I was delivering this training to an audience who was in Germany and they spoke German, for example, they could be listening in their native language because Teams would be translating everything for them. So again, there's really great use cases in Teams that will be very individual to you guys. So just find your own. But I think meetings and the notes and the transcription is universal for everyone. Everything else is quite personal. So just have a look and make sure that, again, that kind of speaks to you. Deployment considerations, right? And I know we're very excited about Copilot and we just want to get it. And it's fine. You know, a lot of people will just get the license, but I don't want you to think about AI for the sake of AI, right? There's things to consider. which we already had touched on in terms of data governance and things like that. But also, how is Copilot fitting into your business, right? How is it relevant to business goals? How is it going to help achieve those goals? What pain points are we trying to address? So if you're speaking to your chosen department about a Copilot, for example, it's like ask them, what are your time leaks? Where could we help you? Where can AI help you? And start building those use cases, right? What are your current capabilities? What is your data strategy? Do you have one, right? And also infrastructure and resources, which is something that's missed sometimes. And what I mean by that, do you use OneDrive? Do you use SharePoint? Do you have someone to be put in charge of AI, right? Because there will need to be a responsible person who can do this deployment process and make sure all the steps are taken properly. So again, something at the back of your heads, like, oh, we're thinking Copilot. Let's create a roadmap, right? So a roadmap, for example, can be something like this. Let's take steps, make it more strategic, make it successful. So if you take those steps, that will basically help you on the way, right? So start with building a strategy, making sure that it fits in with your business goals, identify your stakeholders, and start working on those use cases. Then create a pilot. Choose one department. Where you can get quick wins, right? You want a low-hanging fruit, basically. So give it to the one department, make sure they adopt it, collect those use cases, collect the success stories, move on to the next department. And then you the business case is built for you basically by itself, right? You don't have to do a lot of work for it because the business will start seeing benefits and value from it. So you can do the deployment firm-wide, company-wide after that. But again, stagger it. Make sure there's strategic steps in place and there's someone in charge looking after them and following up and tracking that it's all going the way it should, basically, right? Because like I said, it's easy just to get a license. But then if you're not seeing value because it hasn't been done properly, then you're missing out on a bigger picture and the benefits that you would see from Copilot, right? Okie dokie. So are there any questions? Anything that we can, that hasn't been covered that you would love to learn more about, that would help you, or how you use it and how it can help you? I got silent. Oh no. It's okay, I don't bite, promise.
I know everybody is on mute, so if you do have any questions, just unmute yourself.
Yes, please. Yes,
Or
unmute
ask in the
yourself.
chat.
Yeah, Chan, there's a Q&A box. You can raise your hand. If you don't want to jump on camera, that's fine. I understand.
Hi, I forgot how much you said it was to try it.
Yeah.
Did you, how much is it for somebody to try it out? Copilot.
So the license, just one license itself?
Yeah.
It's $30.
Oh, okay.
But with the Copilot licensing, you buy it for a year up front.
Oh, okay.
That's why I mentioned the Teams Premium, because Teams Premium is per month, so you can try it.
Okay.
Kind of, in a way, you can try the Teams Copilot capability
version
for a
of it.
month. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. No worries. No worries. Anything else, guys? Anything else we can go back to? Anything that needs clarification? Anything you want to expand on? How are you guys feeling the Copilot, M365 Copilot? How do you think? What do you think about it now that you've kind of had a whole journey of, you know, this is where it came from, this is what it is, this is what oh, thank you. This is what you need to think about.
I think it's given food for thought, hasn't it? Weighing it looks really exciting, could be great for them.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah, again, if you start speaking to people and just think, like I said, start with, where do you waste your time? What are the things we could take away from you that would release some of your kind of brain capacity to do other more creative, more productive things, right? Just those small tasks, because again, it all adds up, right? 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 20 minutes there. All of a sudden, you've saved an hour a day. All of a sudden, it's 5 hours a week, right? And then 20 hours a month. That's a lot. So everything adds up, 100%.
And we've just got a couple of people typing, Monica. So
Okie dokie. Let's have a look.
Wayne's definitely going to trial it with our IT providers so they can give it a go. Wayne,
Yeah.
can you also tell David that it's going to be uploaded to YouTube for me as well, because he sent me an email while we've been on here. James, only have license for one person, but reckon we won't see full benefit until trying it with one department. Yeah, fair point.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Again, one person is great, and it's great to get their feedback and how they use it to then present it as a proposal potentially. But yes, ideally you probably want 2, 3, 4, 5 people to then again, it's more of a one person's fine, right? But I mean, there might be an exception to the rule. But if you present 5 people with the same findings, then it's a little bit harder to kind of say no to it, because five people had saved 5 hours a week. So there's something in it. Let's dig further about it. So yeah, 100%.
I guess that allows a collaboration between the people that are using it, and they can help each other, because they'll find their way naturally through it, won't they?
Yeah, it's a bit of a team effort, right? Because again, you learn something new, you then go to your colleague really excited. Oh my God, I've just tried this, try it. It's awesome, right? And yeah, it is definitely kind of quite contagious. Conversations that you'll be having if you have more than one license, because other people will just get but I don't have it, don't talk to me, I'm jealous, right?
Yeah.
You don't want that. So yeah, definitely more than one if possible. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's all the questions we've got. Monica, I want to thank you very much for your time. That was a brilliant session. And everybody, it is being recorded, so they should get a recording. I'm not quite sure how the technical aspect of that works. However, we were also going to upload it to YouTube, but I know that will at least be next week. So if you want to just keep checking on our YouTube, all of our recorded insights every single month do get uploaded to our YouTube channel, which whoever your account manager is, it's always, the link is in our signature to our YouTube channel, so follow it there, guys. Okay, Monica, amazing, thank you so much.
No worries, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on Friday. I know Fridays can be a little bit tricky. You want to get home and relax, so thank you so much. I understand this was YouTube channel name, someone's asking. I don't know that one.
It's just in the signature. Give me a second.
Oh, it made my Friday fun. Thank you so much, Wayne. That's brilliant. Thank you.
I can't get into it because I think I don't know why.
No worries.
It's not letting me in. Who asked for it?
It was
Where?
Madhuri or myself?
Yeah.
Where are you from? Quality Bearings?
Yes, Quality Bearings, yeah.
Okay, I'll get your account manager to send that across to you.
Sure, thank you.
Amazing.
All right, thank you.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Friday and have an amazing weekend.
Lovely. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Monica.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thank you so much,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.